I think for me, book reviews on iconography are a little bit more complicated because we have different topics. Like we have first of all we have English books, and then we have Tibetan, and then we have Sanskrit. But then we also have iconography where we're dealing with the figures. Then we have iconography where we're dealing with the mandalas. Of course, they overlap because mandalas generally have deity figures contained within them. Now, we've talked, I think, a little bit more about mandalas, and we have figurative iconography. We've talked about symbols. We've talked about other more minor topics, but there are some major publications, and one of them we have talked about already is Buddhist Iconography, Compact Edition by Lokesh Chandra. We've also dealt with Tibetan Mandalas, also by Raghuveer and Lokesh Chandra, primarily dealing with the Vajravali and the Tantra Samuchaya. We've looked at Buddhist symbols in Tibetan culture by ldan Trayap Rinpoche. Now, the publication now is called Deities of Tibetan Buddhism, the Zurich Paintings of the Icons Worthwhile to See. Now, this is a large book. It's a little bit expensive. It's actually a translation of a text by the fourth Panchen Lama. Some of you might think of it as the seventh Panchen Lama. That's the Tashi Lumpo system. The fourth Panchen Lama enumeration is the Gandham Podrung numbering. And this Panchen Lama lived between 1782 and 1853, and he wrote this text, but the text is almost 95% based on another text by Jonang Taranata, Kungan Yingpo, called the Yidam Gyatso, or the Rinchen Trengwa, or some such name, or the Rinjung Trengwa. So this is a version of a Jonang Taranata text, which is dealing with hundreds and hundreds of deities, and it includes their initiation and their description, and then the sadhanas, the meditation text, can be created from these short texts. Now, this is translated into English. The original text of Jonang Taranata has not been. This has been, and has been translated. Now, there are differences between the two texts. There has to be differences, otherwise the Panchen Lama couldn't put his name on it. So there are differences, and this book is actually based also on a series of paintings, small initiation cards. So it is quite comprehensive, and there's a lot of appendices in the back. The book in English is very important, because if you don't have access to the Tibetan text of Taranata, then you will have no avenue for this material other than this translation. Now, the translation is done by Martin Wilson, and out of Wisdom Publications, and it was done in 2000, so it is some years ago. But the book actually, for English readers who are interested in iconography, this is essential. You not only must know about it, you must own it. You must have access to it. You must have it in a library that's close at hand. Very, very important book. But I must stress, I do rely on the Tibetan. I don't actually rely on for a lot of technical information. I don't rely on the English version. I actually prefer to go from the Panchen Lama's English version. I prefer to use the Jonang Taranata's original version in the Tibetan. So press the like button. You can subscribe. You can join HAR on Patreon, and you can also go to the Himalayan Art Resources homepage and make a donation, because that's how we continue to do the work we do.